Another episode of Coastin, episode 9. That's Piv. I'm Finer. Very excited to bring on Ara Nazarian, forward from the Jacksonville Icemen, with us in just a few minutes. But the news of the week, at least here in the Northeast where we're recording from, 2 feet of snow where I am right now, and a little bit less for Evan. But Evan's a trained Northman, Northeastman, having lived in New York for a good proportion of his life, and you just got a snow brush, we're hearing before the show. Sources are telling us you just got a snow brush for your car.
So to go back a little bit, happy episode 9 to everyone. Very soon we're going to start using our feet, and we might have to charge a little bit more for that. Anyway, so yes, I did get a snow brush, and let me tell you, being up, in the Adirondack Mountains, where I am, living amongst the mountains, as one does, you always have to have all the supplies, the salt. You got to have all the necessary accoutrements, if you will, to go into a different language there. That is French. Learned that from Jeopardy a long time ago. Anyway, so I had a snow brush so my lease in my car ended in May. So my grandfather, who no longer drives, was nice enough to lend me his car for the summer until I got a new one. And it was a 2-wheel drive, just front-wheel drive, which up here you can't really have. Yeah, you can have it in the summer. You can get away with it. I mean, in the rain, it's like, but once the winter comes and once you hit like September, like that's when you're like, okay, sure, any day now, like there could be snow. So I got a new car in August, and I didn't think of, like, I'll replace it eventually, the snow brush, because I think I left it in the car, my grandpa's one, and I totally forgot about it until like, and plus it's different now because we're all furloughed and all that fun stuff, to bring that all back up and to make myself
everybody's sad for people. Yep.
Yeah. Exactly. But there hasn't been a lot to do. So I haven't really left my apartment a lot. I've run errands here and there, but that's really all that I do. I go to the grocery store and whatever. It's the real only trip I make out of the house. But recently, about a month ago, we got 33 inches of snow out of nowhere. Like, there was there'll be a foot overnight. Woke up and there's 3 feet of snow. But again, this doesn't affect me as much, right?
Right.
So last week I was at Target running some errands, and I saw a big, beautiful brush, and that's when it clicked. It's like, I need one of those. Yeah. I'm tired of leaving my car on auto start for 10 minutes to have it turn off, then to do it again, just so like the big chunk of ice will fall down as I'm driving. You know what I mean? So I got
I'm coming up with questions here.
That's fine.
Follow-up questions as you're talking about this. So we're not going anywhere with this.
I got the big, detachable, or the big extended 46 brush. It has I tested out the scraper part of it in the store to make sure it wasn't flimsy. I did a little brushing, and I made sure it was long enough that I have an SUV now, so I have to make sure I can get to the top parts. And I'm not, I'm 6 feet tall. I'm not, as tall as you are, David, but you might have a little more reach when it comes to that. But I need the little extender. I know Mark Bonetti would need probably 3 of them to get to the top of a car. But in this aspect, I feel like I'm back again. Like a piece of me is back. Like I'm ready to conquer whatever comes my way.
How much satisfaction on a scale of 1 to 10 do you have when you speed up for the first time on a snowy day, and whether it's not a huge chunk, because we don't want to hurt anyone, but you see the snow behind you? What's your scale of 1 to 10 satisfaction?
So when we got all that snow a couple weeks ago, I was in the parking garage of my apartment building, and I parked. Well, this was a couple weeks ago, so we got another snowstorm since then, but it wasn't as much. And I'm not going to get into it, but the people who run the building here, I'm not a fan of them, and they didn't give me an indoor. You can't move your car in. So it's 3 levels of covered parking, and the roof is what they gave me. Like, there's so many spots underneath. Like, you could figure out what spots are open, but they'll write notes in your car, like, move your car, you don't park here.
That's what I wanted to ask about too. So please tell that at a certain point too, of somebody writing a note on your car. But
you were there for that.
Please also continue with the story if you can keep them together.
So I, knock off most of the snow and stuff that's on my thing, but I know there's still some more on top, right? But I can't really shovel that out.
Yeah.
So I made an incision in the middle of it. Like I cut, so I know that it could like slide.
Yes.
So I backed up in the garage, made sure I was clear. I went like, I just slammed down on the gas and then pressed the brake.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
did one of these, and then all the snow just came tumbling down. I got it out of the way early. Yeah, I got it out of the way early. This way it wouldn't do that while I was driving. But one time,
Scale of 1 to 10, though, you still haven't answered the question. When that happens,
satisfying. It's so satisfying. Probably it depends on how much comes down and how clean it looks coming down. If you get like the best one, it's like 10 out of 10.
Yeah, yeah.
But it happened to me once when I was driving here from Glens Falls back to Long Island for a day, I think, during the season last year, just to go home for a day. I think I had something going on, but it snowed here, but didn't snow down there. So I was like the only person driving with snow in my car because, it takes 3 hours or so to get down there.
Sure.
And I was driving down the Northway, 87. And I was probably like an hour into the trip, and I had all this because my old car had like the racks on top of the car, and that I don't recommend that if you're trying to clean snow off your car because it all gets bunched up in there. You can't move it. So I was driving, and I guess it was time, and all of it came off at the same time as I was driving. Luckily, I was in the right lane, so I just pulled right over and took care of it. But it was scary when all that stuff came down. So I make sure I do laps around the parking garage. I stop short and get myself whiplash just so everyone else could be safe. Am I a hero? Probably.
I want to get back to the notes. The most satisfying part of the snow coming off the top of your car. And by the way, we have guest Ara Nazarian coming in just a few minutes here on Coastin. Yeah. So not. But I like when it's like the lighter, fluffier snow, and you're driving away and it like wisps off the back of your car.
Yes.
It tickles the road as it gently flows as you accelerate to 35 to 50 miles an hour necessary. I have a theory. It's more about the acceleration than how fast you're going, which is probably some scientific thing that I don't know. But if you go sort of, consistently up to 35, 50 miles an hour, it won't come off. If you go if you go 0 to 50 like they do in the car commercial, then it's coming off quick. You get notes on your car though, from what I'm hearing. You get some love letters from your residents in your apartment building.
For some reason, there's like 300 spots in the parking garage here. And as I said before, it's 3 levels of covered spots and then 1 level of uncovered spots. And like, I don't know how they dictate who gets what spot, but I was given the outside spot, which is fine. But which is fine. Like in the summer, it's great, but your car gets a little hot, but whatever. Because it's baking in the sun. But in the winter, you got to move your car. And they're like, oh, you can't park in front because we're going to have to plow that. You can't park on the street because you can't do that overnight. And I was like, where can I park? And they're like, sorry. So what I've done, and luckily the people in my building, very great people. And most of them are older people too. Not so much this year in terms of what I'm going to get to here, because a lot of them, they're snowbirds, to be honest with you. A lot of people who live in this apartment building, they're older. All the kids moved out of the house already. They wanted to downsize a little bit, so they moved into an apartment building. And in the winter, they go down south. They go to Florida. They go to, they get out, which opens up a lot of spots inside. So I do my scaling out, right? I know winter's coming, so I see what spots are constantly open, what spots are not open. So I have a spot where I go now. But I'm trying to remember, where were you with me? Because there was a point where I got a note on my car, and I think you were there.
Yeah, it was this past May. I came up there with Calvin from our front office to explore some 2020 less fun but still fun Lake George, because it's great up there when it's a little bit warmer. And you played the Mark Benetti, John Madden impression that you had on your not your little, I think it was your friend's little podcast or whatever.
Yep.
And it was great, the radio show. And then you said there was a note on your car that someone had left like a love letter for you on the car, and it said like don't park here or something, like you're in our spot. It was like very very belligerent sort of.
Okay, so that I was still parking inside at that time, right? Underneath. Was I inside?
You were not inside when we went and walked to your car that day.
Okay, so
drive to Saratoga. No,
I got a note because the spot that I found that no one parks in, I parked there for a while, and then all of a sudden I got a note saying, "This is like a handwritten post-it note. This is my spot. You can't park here. I'm going to call the police."
Yeah.
And to be fair, you can't get. I'm going to challenge my apartment building here. You can't get a tow truck in the parking garage here. You can't. Like, it's not going to happen. The way it's, it's too low. There's things going on, and you can't do it. I like to see you try, not to my car, but they threatened to tow you. And again, I got that note, so I moved. Right, I went to a different spot because I wasn't going back to my normal spot. No one has parked there before and since, and after, and all the ways. I haven't seen this person.
I think that person that left that note was spotted yelling at LeBron James at the Atlanta Hawks game the other night and making Instagram live videos after. That may have been her that left the note for you. Parking garage Karen left you a note.
And then there was another. So this is the one that drove me up the wall. There was one that was really bad. Okay, so I'm parked in my normal spot, which coincidentally 169. Coincidentally, because that's a fun number to have. Anyway, so that's how I remember what spot I am. So I in that spot, and 168 is right next to me. And
what a concept! I'm glad the numbering's good in that parking garage.
Yeah, and it's a little black car. It's like a little Hyundai. I've seen the woman only once or twice, but she has just garbage littered in her car. It's like you look at, I think she has like Scrabble the board game in the back of her car. Like you could see it. So I leave one day and I come back and she's in my spot, but her spot's open. So I figured, so what happened was, because when I left, someone else was in her spot, but I didn't think much of it. Like maybe she had a friend or something who was parking there. So I leave, I come back, she's in my spot. The one next to her, which is actually her spot, is open.
You took the spot.
So I took the spot, her spot.
Yeah.
She had my spot. She left me a note.
Are you kidding me?
Saying, "Don't take my spot." Meanwhile, you were in my spot first. I had to take your spot. It was like an agreement. You know what my car looks like. We've been parking next to each other for months. You know how this works.
How?
So she left me a note, and it was on ramen Post-it notes. Like she had like ramen texture in the back of her Post-it notes.
So not like a ramen, like you could buy the regular Post-it notes, and then it's like for branding purposes, it
was ramen branded Post-it notes.
Not like Spaceballs, the toaster, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Not like that. It was like ramen was on.
Yeah, and I was like, "What is this?" And like, I wanted to be like, throw it out. I wanted to like write something and be like, "You took my spot, so I parked in your spot." It's things that it's science pretty much at this point.
Yeah.
Like, and you know what? At some point we'll fix it, right? I'll leave it. You'll come back.
Well, why does it matter? Because if you never parked in your spot again,
mm-hmm.
and if she never parked in her spot again, you could permanently switch, and it wouldn't matter.
Exactly. And okay, her spot's 3 feet closer to the door, whatever. But that ruined my weekend. I remember I was in a good mood. It was nice out that day, and I saw that note. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna move it back when you move your car.
This is awful. I'm not. I think that this is. I think that person is not. That's like the most obvious thing in the world. That
mm-hmm.
that's a natural law, as John Locke wrote.
Yep.
There are natural laws to humanity. That should have been one of John Locke's laws, except it was like horses and buggies back then. But
exactly. I have a gripe with her. Not a gripe, but this is also coming from the same person who, in order to open her car door, because I've seen this before, the only way she can open her car door from the inside is if she lowers her window, reaches her hand out, and opens it from the outside. I've witnessed that before, and I said, wow, you are the type of person who leaves a note in this situation.
Well, you should just leave a note that says clean the back of your car. It's messy.
Just clean everything.
Clean your car.
Just drive it off just get rid of it. Anyway, we're a hockey podcast, first mostly. Nonsense pretty much the rest of the way, but I think we've avoided our main topic at hand for a long period of time here, David.
ECHL is off to a rip-roaring first few months. We'll do a quick little standings rundown with you right now. So the Allen Americans, 12-4. They're leading the West Division with that 12-4 record, 59 goals for. They got a plus 22 goals against, leading the West Division in scoring. The Fighting Jason Malls in Wichita, 9-3-1. They have 19 points, nipping at the Allen Americans' heels. If they were to win their 3 games that they have in hand, then they would be they'd be leading the division. And then best in the East. We talked about this pre-pod. The Indy Fuel are 12-2-1, good for 25 points, leading the way. 11 of their 12 wins have been by 1 goal. So they have 11 of their, again, nearly all of their wins by 1 goal. And normally the way it plays out, if you're a good team, Evan, you win 50% of your 1-goal game, like 60%. But pretty much it's like that's sort of where the money is made. It's like in the NFL, it's 1-score games by a touchdown. And in hockey, it's what's your record in 1-goal games. So I don't know whether that luck's going to turn on them at some point. It's not the way you want to necessarily be doing it.
Exactly.
All the time is maybe what I would come to
But you don't want that. You don't want it to be a habit, right? You don't want to get yourself in that situation where, all right, guys, we have them, we're up by
2-0.
We're up. Yeah. You never want to get complacent in that aspect. And I'm sure Doug Christensen, if we were to have him back on to talk about that, I'm sure he'd say the same thing. Obviously, he's happy to be winning those games and coming out on top of those situations. But, I mean, that's only sustainable for a certain amount of time, especially when you play the same teams over and over again like you are this season. They're going to figure out, how to try to break you down and get past that. One of the things I kind of compare that to is the way that, an NHL comparison would be the way that maybe Barry Trotz does some things with his teams. He has a very specific defensive style with the New York Islanders. And he, his team is, if they give up more than 2 goals, they're going to lose. Mm-hmm. That sort of a situation, right? So if you can keep them off the board, obviously you don't want a team to score. But again, the Islanders are also in the same place where if they score 3 or less, they don't have a very good record. So it's kind of do you want to keep this up as, and it could all be, just the way that things happen. It could be all coincidence. I'm sure that Doug Christensen has, I'm sure he didn't put on the whiteboard in the beginning of training camp, our goal is to win every game by 1. It's just the way probably things have happened. Well, and I'm sure he's happy because they're wins.
Also, they have 4 empty net goals, which leads me to believe, and I'd have to go back and find the specifics, but you have 4 empty net goals. You really won 4 games probably by more than 1 goal, and then maybe we're not talking about it. But also, it could be you're up by 1, you score a goal, empty netter, and then you fall asleep, and you don't have that attention to detail down the stretch. And I feel like bad for Wheeling because they've played Indy more than any other team, I think, has played any other team in the league, and they've kind of gotten the short end with some of the OT losses there. Fort Wayne is joining the league. And I say joining as in they're now starting. So every team's played at least 12 games. Fort Wayne's coming in soon, and so they're going to be loaded this year. They are close to every year. They get a lot of the same guys back, and they get some guys from Toledo that jump ship every year, and then this year even more so because Toledo opted out. And so Fort Wayne, though, is not in the East Division with Wheeling, even though they're 3.5-4 hours from Wheeling. They're in the West Division where basically they'll play Kansas City is their closest West Division opponent, and then possibly not see any other team in that division until the postseason starts with the format yet to be officially announced. So that's a bizarre thing, but a noteworthy one, I feel like, that's happening in the ECHL.
Yeah, good luck to those 2 teams the rest of the way. I know Fort Wayne, the way they play, I mean, it's a physical brand of hockey, and that's the way they love to play things for the Comets. They've always been that type of way. They're always, high scoring, very physical. They put on a show, and to do those, I wouldn't want to be a team that plays Fort Wayne for an entirety of the season, let alone being just 3 months. But it's going to be crazy to see how those games pan out. And again, it's going to be what I was saying before about, you see a team enough, you kind of get their tendencies and, you kind of figure out what they're going to do. And to see by game 5 or 6, maybe even 7, just how they play each other, because I'm sure it's going to be so different from game 1.
And Wheeling could be really good against Fort Wayne, kind of have their number system things and player matchups. They could be not so great against Indy, but Wheeling's going to have more trouble potentially. Well, no, they're going to have more trouble rising up the standings in the East Division because they're playing Fort Wayne, who's in a different division. It's not those 4-point games against other division opponents as much. So they can win, and so could close to every other team that's ahead of them in the division and have trouble. So that's at a disadvantage for Wheeling. If it was me, I would have just done 8 teams in the East Division, 6 teams in the West Division instead of the 7 and 7. It's like that way in the ECHL sometimes anyway, with mismatched divisions in terms of the numbers. So I don't think it really matters as much in 2020, 2021, but that's what they're going with. So I'll leave you final thoughts, Evan, and then on whatever is cropped into the old skull there, as Champ Kind once said in the movie Anchorman, and then we'll toss it to Aaron. Whammy, and then we'll toss it to Ara Nazarian.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously it's a different year for everyone, and there's so many new waters that everyone has to tread through. And you got to give a lot of credit to the people who are in the front office of these leagues, the NHL, the AHL, the ECHL, even guys in the SBHL and the NWHL, which is now going through some trouble with some COVID protocols and whatnot. But there is just so much that people haven't been able to, and from the outside looking in too, if you're just a fan of hockey trying to figure out, why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do that? There's obviously a reason in some aspect, but there's always some end game to what everyone's kind of trying to do. And you just got to give, people credit, because people are working as hard as they can to try to make everything happen and try to have a sustainable product for this season. It's going to be so hard for everyone to try to make it happen. And I think everyone's been doing the best they can with, in terms of protocols and following all the rules and guidelines. But again, people just have to remember it's hopefully, knock on wood, very temporary. And once things get back to going in October, we'll be back to normal. Everyone will have a good amount of teams in each division, more people coming into the league, or more teams coming into the league, and a big free agent class for everyone to pick at.
Last thought, people might be listening and saying, why the heck did Fort Wayne not start until now? Their attendance has, in what they're allowed to with their local government in the state of Indiana, fluctuated so much. So final thought is, you could be thinking you're playing in December, like the rest of the team started with 3,000, I think they have a big building, so it's more spread out, but like they can have, I think, 2,700, 3,000, and then it went down to like 50 people the week before they were supposed to decide whether they could play or not. And then the reason why Toledo isn't in the league is because Ohio and the city of Toledo have been very strict throughout, as has Pennsylvania, as has New York, as the AHL starts. I don't think any teams are having more than a few fans. I know the Lehigh Valley Phantoms in Pennsylvania, the Royals AHL affiliate, they are having some healthcare workers, like 400, I think, per game. Maybe it might be less. It might be a little bit more in an 8,000-seat arena. So that's why Fort Wayne sat out the first 2 months. I'm glad they get to play. Is it ideal for the league? No, you'd like to have every team start at once. That's not debatable. You'd like to have the consistency with it. But if you can have fans there and you can make a young kid's day by having him go to a game with his parents and grow the game of hockey that way in Fort Wayne even more than it has been grown over the last 70 years of Comets hockey, then I'm all for it. And they're in the league and they're gonna play well. So there you go.
Yeah, definitely one of the most storied franchises, not only in the ECHL, but just I think in hockey in general. I think one of the things that people talk about when in the history of hockey, the Fort Wayne Comets have been there for. So to see them playing again is a great thing, and hopefully they could have some more fans in the building to enjoy and keep on the tradition of Fort Wayne Comet hockey. And that building's cool. I don't know. Have you been to a game there yet?
I never have. The Royals haven't traveled much to the Midwest. They used to a lot more.
Yeah, so I've been there a couple of times. It's a cool place. You're high up, man. It's a high broadcast location. And but if you need anything at Sweetwater for your broadcast supplies, that's the best way to go, because that's where they're headquartered and their logos are everywhere.
It's like if you're in Massachusetts and you have broadcast troubles and you need Comrex is in I think it's in Billerica, Massachusetts or something like that. So if you need Comrex, I think Sennheiser's in Massachusetts too. So you got to know your broadcast equipment locations where you can. And with that, we're going to go into a guy who had a little bit of a technical difficulty at one point in the show. We're not going to forget that. Ara Nazarian, forward to the Jacksonville Icemen right now.
Continuing on with this episode of Coastin, we are joined by Jacksonville Icemen forward Ara Nazarian, who has come up twice already as the goal scorer on our play of the week. Ara, what's going on, man?
Nothing much. How are you guys doing?
We're doing all right, hanging in there. I know it's been strange for you guys, especially everyone playing in the league right now, just the way things have gone from the start in terms of everyone finding out where they're playing. I mean, especially for you getting traded down to Jacksonville. That's got to be pretty mixed emotions for you, right? Because, you know, the Adirondack Thunder are the team that kind of brought you into professional hockey. But then, you know, they're not playing this year, so you have to go down somewhere where you have to know, you know, in the case where you have to get yours, right? You have to find a place to play. And how did that whole trade come about?
Yeah, so once I found out I got traded, Coach Christie called me and just welcomed me to the team, welcomed me to Jacksonville. And then a month or so down the road, I head out to Jacksonville for camp, and it was a hard camp. You know, there's a lot of good players, just a lot of players in general, and not many spots. So it was a hard camp. And then from there, we've been just going ever since. But yeah, it's the transition wasn't too bad. You know, I love Florida, but I would just say, yeah, the biggest thing is just the compete level and the skill in the league this year is really good. There's just, like I said, there's just a lot of guys and not many spots. So you better bring in every day, or, you know, who knows what could happen. So,
which makes it even more of an honor to be featured twice on Coastin this year prior as the play of the week with all the competition. So
yeah,
there's when we've had guests on before, they've chatted about those first few days in camp, and there's a lot of excitement, but you also mentioned the skill level. So how much time did it take for you to adjust to your new surroundings and also feel like you're putting your best game on the ice during training camp?
Yeah, it definitely took a little bit. You know, after camp, those first couple of games, you're still getting used to, you know, a different team, different coaches, you know, different rink, everything's different. But yeah, after that, after training camp, I felt pretty good. My wind felt better than it did. We were put through a pretty hard camp, a lot of skating, a lot of conditioning, but yeah, after that week, things have been going pretty smoothly so far. But again, it was the first couple games, you know, everyone was excited, but it was a little weird. You know, we've been off for months prior to that. So it was, but it was good getting back into it.
What did you do to keep yourself busy during that off season? Because I know once we ended in March, everything was so uncertain. Things didn't open up to the way I'm sure you wanted to train during the off season. What did you do to make sure you stayed in game shape and got yourself ready for this year?
So I actually was still able to train my gym back home, Accelerated Performance. I was still able to train with them, and skating, I just, you know, could just grab whatever ice you could find. There was a couple skates going on with some college and some pro guys that I would just jump in. So that was good. Like 4 weeks prior to camp, I was able to skate 2 or 3 times a week. So that was just good to get on the ice. And, you know, besides that, I just did a lot of mountain biking. I got my Massachusetts real estate license. So that was good. That was a positive. But yeah, other than that, just doing normal things, you know.
You said the real estate license, and I know a lot of guys did productive things. I like to think Evan and I have been two of like the least productive people, with our team not playing this year, but that's productive. So what did you learn that you didn't know before?
With the real estate?
Yeah.
I learned a lot of things. The one thing that stood out was that there's air rights and mineral rights. I didn't know anything about that, but I do now.
What's the difference?
Yeah.
Well, the air rights to your house, you technically own like 30 feet above your house. So at first they made that rule because airplanes would fly over people's houses, they would sue them. So now you can't do that, obviously.
So they determined 30 feet is 31 feet is the safe distance.
I don't know the exact footage. Don't quote me on that, but
it's okay.
It's around that.
I mean, if I'm in a plane that's 30 feet above the ground and not supposed to be landing, then I think things are going very, very wrong. And someone needs to be held accountable, and it won't be me. So I'll make sure that,
Well, Piv started off quarantine with the Lion King and all that stuff, huh?
Oh yeah, all those videos. Yeah, that kept me busy for like 2 weeks, and then as things on the internet tend to do, they fizzle out very quickly. And I started posting more, and then the likes started going down. Plus, like, it was weird too, because I would like have like a designated part of the day where I would just like yell at a TV screen, which I mean, and then that was kind of like when the Jets started playing again. Then it was okay because then
there was a buzz going though for a little bit there.
Yeah, there was, yeah. and you liked a few of them, and I appreciate the engagement there. I always like when posts get engagement, especially if they're up to your liking. I know it's a very high standard. So you go to Jacksonville, and it's a new place for you, right? I think you played there once before this past year with the Thunder, but still a new place, kind of a lot of new guys and a lot of new faces. But you see a couple of guys from the Thunder last year come on down, Mike Smatula, Amy McAdam. Did that give you a little bit of familiarity, or is it just kind of like, okay, guys, we're kind of all in this together, kind of a new system, new team?
No, it for sure did. Smat's coming here definitely helped me a lot. Probably helped both of us a lot in the beginning, just even in McAdam too, just like because we knew each other, at the rink, away from the rink. It's just some guys that some guys to hang out with. So that definitely helps to know each other. But as the weeks go on, the months go on, like the team grows and you get close to everyone, and the team starts to gel. So everyone in Jacksonville has been very welcoming. We get a great group of guys, great group of older guys. So it's been awesome so far.
You're from Massachusetts. Did you grow up a Patriots fan? There's a reason why I'm asking this.
Yeah, I did grow up a Patriots fan. Yep.
So Evan and I are huge Jets fans, and basically some people just have it all. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is going to be coming down to Jacksonville, and you talk about people yelling at TVs. I still can't believe the Jets like blew their shot at Trevor Lawrence. They might get Deshaun Watson, but you're right next to the football stadium there, and everything's right in that complex. So what's the city of Jacksonville like as a sports town outside of the Icemen?
Yeah, so we have the so right in the downtown there's the hockey rink, there's the arena, then there's the Jumbo Shrimp, the baseball team, and then there's the Jaguars, obviously. But yeah, it seems that the city's obviously fired up about potentially getting Trevor Lawrence, but I mean, I'm sure they will. And then also Urban Meyer was announced the head coach. So there's definitely a big buzz around going on the Jaguars for sure. Yeah.
Jacksonville's a poppin' place right now, or it's very strange to find places that are actually doing well and making a lot of money and having some buzz around them. Jacksonville's definitely one of them. You mentioned with the baseball team there, and it's all in the same complex. The Jaguars, all the buzz they're getting. They're filming wrestling down there too in that same complex. I think there's like the amphitheater that's right over there. Yeah. Jacksonville's the place to be right now.
Yeah. Seems like it. Seems like the spot right now. But no, yeah, it's a great spot. It's a great area. We live 15 minutes from the rink. The downtown's super nice. Towards the beach is super nice. So yeah, I've loved it so far.
Go ahead, Piv.
No, up to you.
I wanted you to ask a question about the Adirondack Thunder, because otherwise I'm going to tell the same three stories I always do about Adirondack.
I'll go Adirondack Thunder here. So, Ara, obviously your last year was your rookie year with the Adirondack Thunder. We spent a lot of time together, very close on the bus. I think you were either the row behind me, kicking the back of my seat, or 2 rows behind me when you didn't want to be around me after a long trip, which is fine, understandable. Yeah. Didn't want to be around you. Works out.
I was just the guy beating you in Schnarps.
That's what I was going to say. We talked about this, but part of your many appearances on the show from third person.
Yeah, I forgot who else I was talking about. On the podcast, we were talking about someone, and I was saying how Naz always was the guy who always had the card that you didn't want to come out.
Right.
And
or
like
or the card that would sewer you somehow.
Oh my God, that was the worst. You had I think we had like a 2-week stretch where we just hated each other because of card games. Like everything you did was, I think you like risked a game once just to get me out of the game.
Yeah. It might have gotten to that point. Yeah.
Yeah, it was, because we're on the bus for so long, and this is weird now saying, because I haven't been on the bus in, almost a year at this point, but you have so much time to kill, and you play these card games, and everyone's a competitor, especially professional hockey players. You guys, you got competitive nature. It's in your blood. It's the way you work. So now, I'm the radio guy getting punted 4 straight times, and then we have Alex Manor, our equipment manager, keeping score. Thank God he brought a notebook every single trip. That made everything.
Yeah.
But it is a lot of fun, though. It is a lot of fun. After all of our gripes back and forth against each other, I think we could say we had fun.
No, it is fun. Yeah. No, playing Schnarps is always fun, and it's just it really helps kill time on those long trips for sure.
You were a new Schnarps guy last year, right?
That was my first time playing.
Yeah, because that's why we got mad at you, because you had all this beginner luck for the first 2 weeks, and you were just killing us.
Yeah, you were a second or third year player, right?
Yeah, I didn't have vet status yet.
Yeah.
I was a couple PTOs here and there up to the back of the bus for a couple games, but it was a quick send right back down once another guy got healthy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't know with your play. I didn't know if you were first year or second year Snarfs player.
Oh yeah, you're funny, man. I missed this.
Piv very rarely self-reflects in the way that I would hope he would at points about his mannerisms on the bus. Like, I got to be honest I'm going to talk about me for a sec, and then I'm going to ask you to analyze Evan. So I pretty much have the laptop out the entire time, or my eyes are closed and I'm trying to fall asleep. Like, that's pretty much it for me. Like, either work or like music, a movie, sleep. So analyze Evan on the bus comparatively to me with that description that you've been provided.
Well, I don't even know if Piver had a laptop on the bus.
Dude, come on. Okay, so you'd be too busy on the phone outside on, calling up, every relative saying, hey, I had ice time tonight. Whatever you're saying. And I'd be on the bus writing the press release.
Yeah,
because also our Wi-Fi on our bus was terrible. I had a hotspot all the time. So I made sure I got all my work done, which I did. And then you finally got off the phone and started paying attention to what's going on. You know what I mean?
And then Piver would just turn his head and just say Schnarps.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, we all were thinking it. And I was just the guy to step up and say it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but some people don't know, but me and Piver actually had one of our suits was the same suit.
Oh my God. I remember this.
And Piver would always wear it. Every time I wore it, Piver would wear it, and we'd have the same suit on. And
it was the blue checkered one from Brooks Brothers.
Yeah, exactly. But to answer the question, I would say a lot less computer time.
That's like sewering abroad. You're like hurting his career right now. So be very careful about what you're saying.
Out of all the things that I've ever said to you on a broadcast, I might take them off.
No, I'm just joking. I've seen him on there. I'm just giving Piver a hard time.
Yeah.
But probably a good amount. I don't know. You don't sleep much. You didn't sleep much, I don't think.
Well, you were sleeping a lot, so.
Well, yeah, you get tired on there.
Yeah, it's a tiring experience. But it also depends too, because you used to, as I said before, like I think you had stretches where you were directly behind me.
Yeah.
And then we had some newer guys pop on every now and again. The rookie spots, which is the one directly behind me. And we had some newer guys there who would come in and take that spot. I know, and Tommy Perrin had it a couple times too, who is the most lethal Schnarps player of all time. I'm not gonna say that because I'm not gonna give him the credit for that, but he was part of the group there, and it was a fun time and a fun year for you. I'm sure for you, just through everything. I mean, apart from the season ending early due to a global pandemic, which we got into a little bit, but from your rookie year, what'd you kind of take out of it? What'd you learn from it, and what are you going to take with you the rest of your career?
Let's see. Well, one of the biggest things was just like how quickly things can change in this league. You know, one day you might have 30 guys, and then the next day a couple guys go down, and all of a sudden you're playing more, and then guys come back, and then like things change every day. And it's just one of the biggest things is just to just keep your mind in it no matter what happens, because there's so much change throughout the season that, you know, eventually it's going to work out for you. But that, and then consistency, you know, you got to bring it every day to practice. You know, like coming from college, it's a little different because if you got to, it's a business, and at the end of the day, you got to perform, or, you know, they're going to find someone who can. So every day you're just at practice, you got to be sharp. And that was one of the biggest differences. But it was great. I loved Adirondack. We had a great group of guys, great staff, Piver. And it was great. You know, it's a cool town, a cool city. It was cool living out at Lake George, and I really enjoyed it.
Had you been to Lake George before living there?
I have not. No, I never went there before, so it was cool. So the first week we were there, we did a little boat tour on the lake. Got to see some of the houses, which was cool. And then, but yeah, no, I never been there before. And once I got there, and I actually had my dad send out a couple of our fat bikes that we have. So on off days or after practice, a couple of days, I could ride those around during the winter because they had some trails over there. So
now being able to be so close to home, being from Massachusetts, you played at UNH, University of New Hampshire. So this is your first real pro experience playing away from your home state. I mean, I think Glens Falls was about 3.5 hours, I think, if that, from you.
Yep.
So what has that experience been like for the first time you're kind of really like, okay, I'm an adult, I'm away from home for, a good distance?
It's not that different because I don't know. In Adirondack, I'm still far enough away, I think. Okay. But yeah, Florida obviously is farther. But
very good.
It's pretty similar. You're still pretty much on your own. You're funny, Piver. But I don't know. I don't think it's that different from Adirondack in terms of, being on your own and doing that stuff.
For you going down south, like the North Division, and I love the cities in the North Division. Obviously, I work in Reading, and I always say that Evan, I've only ever taken Evan there, that tongue twister, to like the Wawa, like 3 miles west of the city. But like when you guys go in, if you're staying at the DoubleTree or if you're just doing a back and forth, like you really don't get to see why a majority of people like living in the suburbs of Reading. So like Brampton is a city in the North Division. Reading, like Wheeling's not in the North anymore. It used to be. Worcester. These are more like industrial, like Rust Belt-ish kind of cities. And now you're talking about like you're playing in the South Division where you get to go to Charleston and you get to go to Orlando and like more vacation destinations. So do you have a favorite of the places you've been so far? What do you think about the new variety that has been so graciously thrown into your life by the ability to go to teams in the South as opposed to the wintry North Division?
Yeah, no, it is really nice. Charleston's obviously super nice. Estero, and it's not, you don't get winter. The one day I missed a little snow was on Christmas, but other than that, the weather's perfect. This year is a little different because we can't like check out the city, like go out to restaurants and stuff with the protocols. But we've gone to Orlando. I loved Orlando. The Estero's good too. And then I think, but my favorite spot would be Charleston. Yeah, outside of Jacksonville for sure. It's just a super cool spot right on the water. Can't beat it.
So, like, what can you guys do? I don't know how many fans are aware of this. I know just cursory stuff just because the Royals aren't playing and just sort of hearing things. But, like, take us through? You get into a city, you're there the day before, and then you have a game 7 o'clock the next night. Like, what are you restricted to being able to do?
So when we're on the road, we get off the bus. We have temperature checks when we get off the bus, and then we get to the hotel, and it's pretty much you just have to Uber Eats to the hotel and just hang out for the night until we wake up in the morning, get back on the bus, temperature checks again, and then we have morning skate, and then you just go back to the hotel and wait for the bus to leave for the game. So it's pretty simple. There's not with all the protocols, we can't really like go out to eat or indoor dine. We can outdoor dine, but that's about it.
So even when you are on the road, your guys are basically in the hotel, even if there are some restaurants and stuff local?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, a lot of guys cook too. They just have been bringing dinners to the hotel, popping them in the microwave and eating them. And then another handful of guys just Uber Eats to the hotel or stuff like that.
What's been the Uber Eats choice of Ara Nazarian throughout the season so far? What's been like your go-to? Like you're in a city where maybe, just take me through like what your, maybe pull up in your phone what your recent orders are. Like
that's a good idea.
And then read off your card number.
Orders if it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm on my phone right now, but I can, when I'm away or when I'm in Estero, there's this Italian place. I forget the name of it.
Good that your phone remembers it. Yeah.
I ordered from there. You want me to check?
You don't have to check. It's going to pause.
This is fine. No, it's fine.
It's fine. Let's go. Go.
Read
it off.
Read
it off.
This will be a good social media tweet. So keep on going.
Read off.
Hold on. Let me find this.
Like to the specifics of it.
Yeah.
Like everything it says.
Like, did you get ranch like 25 cents extra? Like that's what we're looking for here.
I think the place in Estero is called Nino's.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a chicken parm with vodka sauce.
Okay.
And they give you a bunch of bread with it too.
Okay.
And then
so they spit in your food then.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope not.
Okay.
I hope they wouldn't do that. But and other than that, I think Panera, honestly. I think I've Uber Eats Panera a bunch of times this year.
So
do they like, is Panera a good thing to get Uber Eats? Are they normally like pretty quick? Because some places are not, like Chipotle.
Yeah, because Panera's quick and I love Panera. I just get the soup and a sandwich.
Now there are a few things wrong with what you said before in your order from Nino's.
Agreed.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Let's hear it.
You called it. You said getting a chicken parm. Right?
Chicken parm, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people just say they're getting chicken parm.
Did I say a chicken parm?
Yeah, you did. I don't know if that's something normal that you do.
Oh no, chicken parm. Yeah, I didn't mean to say a.
No, it's fine. And the vodka sauce is an interesting thing.
Really?
To me, yes. You wouldn't go with just their house marinara?
No, I get the chicken parm with the vodka sauce.
So
have you ever had it? Have you ever had it with the vodka sauce?
No, because there's no need to put vodka sauce on it.
Yeah, well, you obviously haven't tried it yet. That's why.
Why? But why would I?
Because it's unbelievable.
But what made you start eating chicken parm with? See how I said chicken parm, not a chicken parm. Chicken parm with vodka sauce. So
we had this restaurant. So at UNH, we would have team dinners in Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this restaurant, Cafe Med.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the boys just started getting vodka sauce in the chicken parm, and then all of a sudden everyone was getting it.
So you're not even like a leader in this. You're not even like, oh, I stand by that. You're like a follower.
No,
yeah, that's what you just said.
I just like it. I don't know what to tell. I'm not a leader or fight. It just tastes good. I don't know what to tell you.
This is great. This is like prime, like Seinfeld, Curb Your Enthusiasm Piv about everything. So I'm just enjoying this.
What
now? Like to me, people outside of hockey, if you've never worked in hockey before, will most likely have never had for a pregame meal like the pasta and the chicken with the combination of the Alfredo and the marinara, like a little bit of the white sauce, a little bit of the red sauce.
Right.
So is this just like no marinara sauce, only vodka sauce?
Yeah, it's just vodka sauce. Chicken parm with vodka sauce.
Have they ever done both accidentally and kind of infuriated you a little bit as a result of doing both?
No, I've never gotten both, but
I think that's a testament to Nino's for not doing both, because I think as an Italian restaurant, if you were to ever do that, put marinara and vodka sauce, you shut down. Like, you just close your doors.
maybe. Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah, that's not a good mix.
So we talk about a lot as, we're, us with the Thunder, when we're heading to Reading, one of the things all the guys are looking forward to is the breakfast in the hotel in Reading. What are some of your favorite spots, from last year, we'll talk about more North Division. What are some of your favorite spots on the road and some of your favorite places to go to?
Well, to go back to that, the breakfast in Reading's unbelievable, and the cookies too.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's Reading.
Yeah.
Yep, it's a DoubleTree.
Yeah, they have the hot cookies in the lobby. The boys love that. But
at 4 a.m. I can't have them because I'm allergic, but still, I'm happy you're happy.
You can still smell them.
Yeah, I can.
Portland was probably my favorite place to go on the road. It's just such a super cool city. And when we went there, we'd stay at, was it the Westin?
The Westin, yep.
Which is right downtown there, and you can walk around some of the shops. And it's you walk right to the rink, and I don't know. I just really like Portland. I think it's a cool spot. A lot of stuff to do around there. So
I don't want to interrupt the Portland thought, but there is one single thing about the Westin in Portland that is better. There's one thing in the hotel, in your room, in fact, that's better than any hotel in the North Division, any hotel I've ever been in. Do you know what I'm talking about? There's like one specific thing that just is not
in the room.
Specific. Yeah, in like in the room.
I can't even remember.
You want to go for it, Piv?
The shower heads.
The shower heads.
Maybe you haven't. Oh well.
If you don't take showers, then you.
Oh yeah, I don't know what your hygiene situation is, but the shower heads are like the waterfall ones.
Yeah.
They kind of come down. I don't
know yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's a big deal to you. It doesn't sound like it is.
I don't know. I mean, I don't go to Portland for the shower heads, but
what you would in 2020, 2021 season.
Yeah.
Smart about the trip.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's true.
One more thing I got to call you out for in your time, because before we let you go, because we've had you on for a little bit now, more than I think I promised that we'd be on for. But that's all right. You just got to do what you got to do. This is part of your job. So, one of the things that you were notorious for on the bus, from my perspective, was probably like we're like a couple hours away from where we need to be, right? I get the tap on the shoulder from Ara. Hey, Piv, when are we going to be there? Every trip. And what I tell you? What was my response to that?
I don't remember. I think you told me how far we were.
I would, because you annoy me. But I would ask you, what type of phone do you have? And then you'd be like, iPhone 8. Like, it has maps, doesn't it? Because that's what I do. And that's I don't know what it is about that, but that was one of your favorite questions.
I don't think I did that much.
That was you. I distinctly maybe I just picture your face on everyone who like annoys me in that situation. That might be
maybe a couple times.
Is it because he's the media guy? He's like the stat guy, so he's going to know like immediate. Is that part of it? Because I've been asked the same thing. Like, hey, you're the stat guy. Like, you know the stats. Like, where on I-95 are we headed up to Portland after we've been on the bus for 4 hours? Like that.
Yeah, just any question you have, you would just throw it at Piv.
Yeah, and the problem, like, that's on me because I'll answer him. Like early on, like, because I come in, our first day of training camp, I give like the presentation after we go around the locker room and introduce ourselves and do whatever. Anything you need, let me know. I'm here to help answer any questions. And right off the bat, that's like
taken advantage of.
Like, I just get stomped on with just ridiculous questions. Like, and to ask how far we are when everyone on the bus is on their cell phone all the time.
It just seemed easier. Just tap you on the shoulder, bother you a little bit.
It's kind of like when you're home, it's sort of like, if you're visiting like family and there's you don't need to ask like your mom to like get something for you in the other, like that type of, is it that type of thing? So it's sort of like a familial thing, not like a mother, but like it's sort of like a familial, like you can take advantage of the very kind relative. Is that a fair?
Right. Yeah. Sort of. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could say that. Oh.
Are you getting a phone call during this? Yeah.
I'm still recording.
Sick, Ara. That's the way you exit this podcast, huh? We go through the PR department. The great Alex Reed takes time out of his day. He's back in here.
Is he gonna? Oh, he's back in. Okay. I thought he was gonna like text you like, should I rejoin? That would have been better.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Are you kidding?
Is it all right now?
Yeah.
All right.
What's your definition of all right?
Someone called me and the whole thing messed up.
Did you answer it?
No, I clicked end.
Who was calling?
Yeah, who was it?
My mom was calling me.
You didn't let her know?
That's the familial question.
Yeah.
And she called. All right.
Yeah, she had mom instincts. David was talking about
was talking about your mom. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm guilty as charged. Shit.
No, but yeah, to answer the question, Piver, it's just like when you ask someone a question but you already know the answer, you just want to ask them. I don't know how to describe it.
What does that mean?
It's just
what's the point of asking the question then?
Affirmation.
You just want reassurance of how far we are.
Hey, Piv.
And Piver was the guy to give that reassurance.
Does 2 + 2 = 4? Yeah.
I think so, yeah. I think so.
I think so.
Come on, it's a little bit different than that. It's like,
I know, I'm just breaking them down.
How far you think we're out? Like you kind of know, but you want to relate to the human experience of knowing that you're 3 hours away from Portland. You could be 3 hours and 10 minutes. You could be 2:50 if things speed up.
Exactly. And you're just trying to keep Piver on his toes sometimes.
Yeah.
You don't want him getting complacent.
Yeah,
especially when the laptop isn't out. I mean, that's the.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, when the laptop's out, that's when Ara is giving me the business about cards.
I think it's when I see his eyes starting to close, then I tap him on the shoulder, ask him a question.
One great bus story we had from last year, and it's not ripping on you. Don't worry. I think we're done with that now.
Right.
Was Canadian Thanksgiving last year. I think you were on the bus for this. We were coming back from Brampton. We had just won in Brampton, and our bus driver, this guy John, not our usual bus driver, but we had him, I think, when we went to Canada. He absolutely destroyed a turkey on the road. Do you remember that?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So I just remember it sounded like I thought we hit someone, but then John, the bus driver, leans back and goes, "Turkey!" Like, no problem. And then he was like picking the feathers out of the grill of the bus.
Yeah. So, everyone was kind of half asleep. We're all like half asleep, eyes are like half open, and we just hear, "Oh no!" And then boom, and he goes, "Turkey!" And he smoked a turkey, I guess. So I don't know. I mean, that's what he said. Who knows what, but
yeah, we actually don't know what actually happened.
He claimed it was a turkey, but we really don't know what it was.
There's nothing like smoking a turkey on the road doing 65 kilometers per hour on Canadian Thanksgiving near Hamilton, Ontario.
Yeah.
Oh man, but I'm trying to remember any other funny bus stories. There's nothing really else. It was just a good time, and it was good. And it was good to have you here, Ara. We'll let you go now. We'll let you call your mom and let her know.
I hope I didn't mess it up with that.
No,
there.
if I never have a job again, it's because of me, Ara, not because of you. I'm not going to say that.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
I appreciate you hopping on, man. Good talking to you. Best of luck with everything in Jacksonville this year. Say hi to some of the Thunder guys, and just take care, man. Stay safe and enjoy yourself.
All right. Thanks for having me, guys.
Ara was great. I loved when his phone kind of gave out there. The Uber Eats part was my highlight, but his mother calling might be the second best thing. You guys obviously are good friends, and Ara was great. Not much more to say about that, Piv.
Yeah, he was a fun guy. And I mean, all the stuff we were ragging on each other, obviously we get along fine. It's just there's times where you're on the bus with someone for a long period of time that you kind of like figure out their exact tendency. You know exactly what their MO, the modus operandi, as to say it in the full Latin term to make me sound smarter. But he's a great kid. I'm happy that he's doing well and getting a chance to play hockey this year, because a lot of people aren't having that opportunity, especially for a guy like him who had a pretty good year last year and found a way and worked hard and got himself a spot in Jacksonville. So episode 9 is now done. Is that right?
5, 6, 7, 8, 10 is coming up next week.
10? Wow. Oh my goodness.
I feel like it's been a lot more in a way. It kind of feels like a lot more.
Yeah, I think we also, when we started, because now that we're weekly, right? I think we made up for content within episodes early on, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? I think we're like, okay, we have a couple of weeks to try to cram into one show.
It was our training camp.
Yeah, it was our training camp. We had to get used to it. Now we're in a flow here, and I think we're, pun intended, flow hockey. You hear that? You hear that? Yep.
Heard it.
Yeah, we heard it. So I think now that we're running here, it feels like we're doing a lot, but it's also a lot of fun to get everyone's perspective on what's going on. And there's so many cool people in the league. We've had great people on the show, guys like Tyler Coulter, Ara, who was just on. And it's great to get those different perspectives from guys who are at different levels of their careers and just in different places. What
are you doing rest of the week? Any good plans before the next show?
Well, the big game is on Sunday.
I forgot about that.
Who
you got? Chiefs minus 3.5. Who you taking?
I'm not throwing anything on the game, but I'm just excited to watch it because I like Patrick Mahomes a lot. It's like, and everyone knows Tom Brady's going to play for the next 6 years too. But you know what? Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time. I can say that from the Jets fan perspective. And okay, before we go, here's a rant for you, David. I think I brought this up to you before. People especially it happens on social media a lot. People think that they say when something bad happens, right? For instance, I saw this when Tommy Lasorda died, right? On Twitter. People were writing in the comments, as a Giants fan, I just want to send my condolences. No, it doesn't, you can say, it doesn't have to say what team you root for.
Yeah.
Just say, I'm sorry.
So you're saying, I appreciate Tom Brady. Is that what you're saying as a Jets fan?
As a Jets fan. And I caught myself saying it, but
you hate saying it because it's so objective that he is it's objective. He is the greatest quarterback of all time.
Yeah.
I want to see someone new. Mahomes won, but if Mahomes loses, it would be like he's never the greatest of all time because he lost to 43-year-old Tom Brady, and that's all people will say, and it's not fair. And he could have Tyreek Hill and 5 other guys on the team get injured on the first play, God forbid, for the Chiefs. But that could happen, and it would have been like, oh, LeBron never beat Kobe, or LeBron never beat Michael. So therefore it'll be that type of thing. So I want the Chiefs to win. Also for the lowest hanging fruit argument in the world is who's going to be better at the end of the day type thing. Yeah. So I want the Chiefs to win, and I don't really want to see Tom Brady win another Super Bowl. So I'm biased.
Yeah. And also it's kind of like a little bit of a passing of the torch in a way too. You have Tom Brady, who's dominated the NFL for the past almost 20 years, probably 16 or 17 years at this point, maybe more.
20 years.
20 years.
Yeah.
So he's dominated for the past 20 years, and you have Patrick Mahomes, who's in year 4, and he's already won a Super Bowl, and he doesn't really have much else to prove except he wants to be the best version that he can be of himself, and he has a great chance to prove it this Sunday during the big game, because we can't say what it's actually called.
Yeah, Chiefs minus 3.5. It's always funny to see how people try to say people say the big game, but they'll catch themselves, especially this week.
I love it. It's one of my favorite times of the year.
Yeah.
Different ways of calling the big game, like the way it's the big football game this Sunday, the granddaddy of them all. Lock of the week, by the way, bet-wise, for those who are gambling, we are not affiliated gambling. We don't have a gambling sponsor. Nope. If anyone gambling sponsor wants to sponsor us, we are open to talks.
Talk DHL lines all day, baby. Witchy minus 1.5 at Allen. Let's go. Plus 180.
Give me Scotty Miller catching a touchdown for the Bucs this week.
I'll take heads, coin toss.
Okay.
Minus 106, free money.
See, last year I won one of those prop bet sheets.
Yeah.
I filled it out 5 minutes before kickoff, and I won.
How much did you win? Any money or?
Yeah, I won like $200.
Wow.
My buddy just sent me here. Fill this out.
I'm planning on losing a lot of money probably on Sunday. I'll put down some stupid stuff and
that's
like
all right.
$5, $10.
Well, you're in Pennsylvania, so you're good to go on the mobile.
And it's funny, because I'm good in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. I get that, like, because DraftKings and FanDuel will do like the promos, like the no-brainer stuff.
Yeah.
If I cross the state line, you can get like the one specific to your state on both sides. So it could be Sixers, you win this automatic money just because the Sixers.
So you can go around just betting on random hunting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So not to give too many ideas for people, but that's what I'll say about that.
If you're going to go on a road trip and bet, that's what you do.
ECHL road trips are going to be even better next year. So there we go. Piv, it's been a blast. Thanks again. Episode 9 done. Ara was great. Episode 10 next week, and everybody have a great rest of their week and enjoy some ECHL hockey and the big granddaddy of them all game on Sunday. Take care.